recorded 104 new COVID-19 cases yesterday and 2 additional deaths, taking the country's pandemic totals to 904 deaths and 47,776 confirmed infections. Now, according to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the 2 deaths are of a 65-year-old female and a 43-year-old male, both from St. Catherine. Of the 104 new cases, there were 59 females and 45 males, ranging in age from 1 to 100 years. The cases were recorded in St. Catherine with 28 cases. Kingston and St. Andrew recorded 20 cases, St. Thomas 11 cases, St. James, Hanover, and St. Anne recorded 9 cases each, Westmoreland 6 cases, St. Mary 5, Trelawney 4 cases, and Portland recorded 3 cases. The island also recorded 99 recoveries, taking the total of recovered persons now to 23,742, while there are 22,766 cases currently active. In other news tonight, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clarke, announced that the government of Jamaica, through the Social and Economic Recovery and Vaccine Serve Jamaica program, will provide $1 billion to support MSMEs to go digital. Now, while speaking at the First Global Bank's 4th SME Summit, Accelerating Growth Through Digitization on Wednesday, Minister Clarke noted that through the Serve Jamaica program, MSMEs that qualify for the Development Bank of Jamaica's Go Digital grant of $200,000 will now be eligible for up to $800,000 in 2% interest loans to be used to enhance their digital capabilities. Minister Clarke said this initiative would allow businesses to be more advanced in the digital space as companies will be more accessible, more competitive, and more productive, thus catalyzing growth in the Jamaican economy. Still making the news tonight, several students at the Salt Spring Primary and Junior High School earlier today received tablets handed over by Prime Minister Andrew Holness to assist them with their education amidst the challenges brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister Holness, in his remarks, commended the principal and staff of the school while encouraging students to care for the tablets received.
This is a very small school with, as we said earlier, an enrollment of 176 students. But it is quite obvious that the principal takes this as a very serious duty on her part. I can see that the teachers take their jobs very seriously. It is clear to me that the love and care that they have in their hearts is shown on a daily basis, whether or not the students are in the classroom or online. It is clear that the teachers here are making great effort to ensure that the children remain engaged, that the children are still being cared for, and that teaching and learning is still taking place.
Yes,
it is clear to me the excitement of the teaching staff in receiving the tablets and other devices is almost greater than the excitement of the children.
Yes, sir, it is.
Because you know how these devices will improve the likelihood of success of these children in their education journey.
The Prime Minister also urged parents to help monitor the students' online usage.
A word for the children. These devices are not toys. they are not only for gaming. Now, I know it is impossible, Madam Principal, to say to the children, you can't play games on these devices. And to the parents who are here observing, they are going to play games on them. But you have to manage it. You have to regulate it. So you can't just leave the children with the devices on their own. From time to time, you have to supervise them, ensure that they are using these devices for the purpose for which they were given, which is to help them to access information through the internet that will advance their education. So in the olden days, which was about 20 years ago, 10 years ago, we used to rely on the physical manifestation, the book.
The book. No.
Now we rely on the digital manifestation, which you get that through the internet connected with a device, whether it is a computer in the form of a tablet, desktop, or a laptop. So now we want our children to have these devices, but these devices open them up to a world of knowledge. And not all knowledge is good knowledge.
Right.
So we require the parents to pay even greater attention to what our children will be doing with these devices.
For her part, the school's principal thanked the Prime Minister for the well-needed tablets for her students.
Mr. Prime Minister, today is the day you're in the right place at the right time. This Salt Spring Primary and Infant School, we appreciate this historic moment. We are welcoming you here today, and we are giving you the invitation to be a part of this family. Welcome to our school, sir. Welcome to our community at large. Now, you being here says a lot of things to us. Let me tell you what it means to us here. You are saying to my children today, Happy Children's Day. Your gift to them is the best gift ever that I could not afford physically, but they know they have my love. And today we want to say, seeing you here has done something for me and my staff. You are real. If it was not COVID-19, we would have showed you our warm welcome here at Salt Spring Primary. This day will not go. We will cherish this moment. MP Clark, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. God bless you, and my children are now better off because of you today.
Still making Mello TV news. During Prime Minister Andrew Holness's message yesterday in the observance of UN Global Road Safety Week 2021, he said Jamaica will be playing our part to help ensure the successful design and implementation of a holistic plan to make our roadways safe.
This year's observance is, in fact, part of a broader second decade of action for road safety, and we in Jamaica will be playing our part to ensure the successful design and implementation of a holistic plan to make our roadways streets for life in alignment with this year's theme. To this end, the government is giving serious consideration to the recommendation from the World Health Organization for policymakers worldwide to adopt the safe systems approach, that is, safe vehicles, safe speeds, safe roads, and safe users, to reducing road traffic injuries and deaths. Just under a decade ago, in 2012, Jamaica registered 260 road fatalities. The figure would not dip below 300 for the remainder of the decade. And in 2019, road fatalities hit a gruesome milestone of 440. Last year, 2020, saw a marginal reduction to 424. These are unacceptably high numbers. And we are already seeing an alarming trend for this year, with fatalities for the first 4 months at 149. We have also seen a troubling rise in the number of fatalities involving motorcyclists. And this was even prior to the onset of COVID-19 and the increased reliance on motorcycle delivery men.
Prime Minister Holness says he welcomes this opportunity provided by visionary leadership at the UN and WHO and joins with the international community in issuing a call to action to reduce speeding generally on the world's roads, particularly in urban areas.
In recognition of this alarmingly high number of motorcyclists who have died on our road in recent times, the National Road Safety Council, of which I am the chairman, has been mandated to work with the various stakeholder groups to plan and deliver motorcycle sensitization and safety training to emphasize the wearing of helmets for motorcycle riders and pillion riders. This is a good example of the safe systems approach, as in this project, we are producing safe road users. I welcome this opportunity provided by visionary leadership at the UN and the WHO, and join with the international community in issuing a call to action to reduce speeding generally on the world's roads, and in particular in urban areas. We must enact policies and adapt strategies to combat this international scourge of road traffic injuries, which is now the leading cause of death in children and young adults in the age cohort 5 to 29.
Prime Minister Holness also appealed to road users in Jamaica, the wider Caribbean region, and by extension, the Americas, to slow down and live.
I appeal to road users in Jamaica, the wider Caribbean region, and the Americas to slow down and live. Road safety has been, by commendable and sustained advocacy over many years, inserted into the UN Sustainable Goals, to which Jamaica is committed, and international partners should commit to scaling up significantly the flow of grant funds to the developing countries where 80 to 90% of road fatalities take place, and where loss of life, cost of injuries, and the consequences of lost income is often devastating. Jamaica remains committed to playing our part, even as we fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, to ensure safe mobility and sustainable development. We want everyone to be safe, to experience the rewards of life's journey.
Still tonight, another wanted man is now in police custody as the Jamaica Constabulary Force's Wanted Wednesdays campaign reportedly continues to reap success. The St. Andrews South Police charged 27-year-old Maurice Campbell, otherwise called Usain, a farmer of New Harbour Village in St. Catherine, with murder and illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. Campbell was wanted in connection with the murder of 55-year-old Matthew Ranglin, otherwise called George, of Ferguson Drive in Kingston on January 24. Now the JCF says that his arrest brings to 4 the number of wanted men arrested since the start of the campaign. Campbell was featured on the JCF's Wanted Wednesdays campaign on May 12 and turned himself into authorities in the company of his attorney on Tuesday, May 14. Now, following an interview, he was charged with murder and illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. Reports coming into our news center tonight are that at approximately 2:45 a.m. on January 24, residents heard explosions and summoned the police. Upon their arrival, Ranglin was seen in a pool of blood with several gunshot wounds. He was transported to the hospital where he was confirmed dead. Campbell's court date is being finalized. We will bring you more on this story in subsequent newscasts. In news from the capital now, 7 persons were shot while 3 persons died in separate shooting incidents in the Kingston Western Division between Wednesday and last night. Senior Superintendent of Police SSP Stephanie Lindsay of the Constabulary Force's Corporate Communications Unit, CCU, explained the first shooting incident occurred on Oxford Street in Denham Town involving Shane Williams, also known as Teddy. Reports coming into our news center are that he engaged soldiers in a shootout and was fatally shot.
So sometime last night after 7 o'clock, there was a shooting incident close to the vicinity where they have a military checkpoint around Beeston Street. What we understand that as part of the ongoing gang feud in the area, a group of men rode up very close to the checkpoint on motorcycles and started firing at another group of men in the area. There was an exchange of gunfire, we understand, between rival factions, and the military person responded. In the end, one of the persons, Shane Williams, he goes by the area Steady, was found with gunshot and taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Now, Shane Williams is someone that, according to the police, was suspected to be involved in a number of murder and shootings. He's said to be one of the main instigators for the recent upsurge of violence that's going on in the Denhamtown area. And he's one of the leaders of the brawling gang that operates out in the Pink Lane area. So he has a track record of similar action. A further search of the area, it was revealed, because all that happened on the street where there were persons, a female and a child were found with gunshots. Based on what I gathered from the investigators, they're not considered to be life-threatening, so they were treated at the hospital. Now, in my last conversation with the investigators, they did not report any casualty with any of the children.
Meanwhile, SSP Lindsay says last night's killing of 32-year-old Chrisette Martin, a vendor of Seacole Avenue, is allegedly as a result of Wednesday night's shooting of a 1-year-old.
There were two incidents. One happened on Wednesday and the other last night that investigators believe they are connected. So on Wednesday morning, there was a shooting incident where a man reportedly went into the community and fired shots, hitting a 1-year-old child. That was on Wednesday. The child was treated, again, based on the feedback. The injury is not life-threatening. So that happened the day before. Sometime last night, sometime after 6, there was a shooting incident where 2 females and a child were shot and injured by gunmen. Now, based on what the investigators have found so far, and they are still following different lines of inquiry, that the incident last night was somehow connected to the shooting of the child the day before. It's a reprisal. And they believe that the female that died, she and her child were targeted because the other child was shot and injured. So it's a very complex situation. Another thing that I gathered from the investigators, that all these persons reside almost in the same yard. They are all related, blood relative, as well as connected in other ways. So what they found now is that the female that succumbed to her injuries that you inquired about, she was killed because she's said to be associated with the person who orchestrated the shooting on Wednesday.
The police have since launched investigations into the incidents. We go to news from St. James now, as there are reports of tension in Paradise, Norwood tonight following the fatal shooting of a reported area leader last night. A joint police and military team has been deployed to the area. The deceased has been identified only as a Huggerman, also of Paradise, Norwood. Police reports coming into our news center are that at approximately 8 a.m., the now deceased was standing on a playing field at a section of the community called Bottom Road when he was ambushed and shot by armed men. Now, following his death, a number of residents reportedly staged roadblocks at various entrances to the community. It has also been reported that several motorists were attacked and their vehicles damaged while traversing the area. The police say an investigation has been launched. In other news tonight, 59-year-old Patrick Scott, a laborer of Lessing Avenue, Brook Valley, Kingston 20, is suspected to have committed suicide at his home yesterday. Reports from the Hunts Bay Police coming into our news center are that at 6:40 a.m., Scott was at home with a relative when he allegedly used a 9mm Sig-Sauer pistol to shoot himself in the head. The police were alerted, and upon their arrival, the body was seen in a room with a gunshot wound. The scene was processed and the body was removed to the morgue. The firearm was subsequently seized. Investigations into the incidents are ongoing. And those are some of the stories making news. We will return with other stories as Prime Minister Andrew Holness handed over social housing in South Spring St. James earlier today. And the National Water Commission, NWC, is again urging delinquent customers to settle their outstanding water bills to avoid disconnection. But first, we'll now go to a break and then join Christopher Scott with the very latest in sports.